So this is your business. This is a year-round business. You're all independent. Most of you are independent. We are here to provide guidance and support, but your success is really dependent on you, not us. I bring that up because sometimes I have agents that come in and they, they'll call Ralph and they're like, "What are you doing for me?" What do you mean? What are you doing for me? What are you doing for yourself? Right? He's here to support. He'll go out and do a ride along with you. Right? If you need help making your phone calls, maybe you're calling business reply cards and you need somebody to throw stuff off of, that's what we're here to do. We're here to support. Everybody here is in charge of their own destiny. Okay. Some of these slides you're going to recognize from previous trainings, but I just think it's important that we all just really put some of this stuff in our head. This has to be a 30-hour a week or more job. Has to be. You're not going to make any money if you're not. Now, I'm not talking about someone that's been in the business for 10 years, has a big book of business, and they write their referrals. That's fine. That person already paid their dues. Okay, so I'm not talking to you. If you're making the income that you're satisfied with, then I'm not talking to you. But I'm talking about the people that tell me, Stacy, I want more. Now, some of you plan on working the next 20 years. Some of you have told me, Stace, I just want to really push it for 5 years. And then I want to be semi-retired. I want to enjoy my life. But either way, to do the production, you got to put in the time. Now, successful agents work 40 to 60 hours a week. And now I'm not saying year round, but leading up to AEP, during AEP, during OEP, that's how much they're working. And if you're brand new and you're here less than 3 years and you're not even writing 50 sales a year, and this is your sole source of income, then you need to be working 40 to 60 hours a week. Because you can't make a full-time living if you're not. You can't. Some people get really lucky and don't have to, but that's the small majority, guys. The successful people put in the time. Now, part of that time needs to be education and training. I think somebody of a Ralph caliber maybe needs to be training 3 hours a week. Okay, that's probably what I put into training, about 3 hours a week on anything, guys. Whether it's marketing related, whether it's perfecting your.
Let me get by. The fuck?
What's that? Oh, maybe there's.
Sorry.
But if you're a real new agent, you probably need to be putting in 10 hours a week in training. Product knowledge. Because here's the thing. If you're going to sit in a retail location, okay, or you're going to do business reply card mailers, or you're going to do seminars, or like Claire goes and sits at the North County Senior Center, if people are going to come up and ask you questions and you don't know shit, guess what? They're going to see right through you, right? So you have to put the time in. It has to be part of your week. The companies that you guys are contracted with are constantly sending you guys emails on webinars and trainings that they're doing. You need to commit to the time. I'm not saying train 20, 30 hours a week, because then guess what's going to happen? The opposite. You're going to be full of knowledge and you're still not going to write any business because you're only doing part of what you need to be doing. Now, very few agents get sucked into that, but it's easy to do. You think, oh, I'm on these webinars all day. I'm learning the business. I'm going to be successful. But if you're not out marketing and prospecting and actually in front of people that you can sell to, then you're not going to be successful either. So again, it goes back to time management. You guys need to spend a little bit of money. You have to. A small percentage of you don't have to. And as I go through today, I'll point out the things you can do with almost little to no out of pocket. But you got to be really good at those things and you got to do them a lot. Okay? So sometimes for newer agents, it makes sense to spend money on business reply cards, on leads, on different things, if you don't have maybe the amount of time to put in to prospecting and marketing. Okay. Missy, hi, Daniela. That's all right. Yeah. You know, I threw that number out there. Maybe it's irrelevant, but an average State Farm initial investment's between $115,000 and $180,000. I'm not telling you guys you got to spend that, but if you're not getting in front of enough people, maybe you need to spend $500 or $1,000 a month on leads, on business reply card mailers or direct mail. Okay. Direct mail, guys, is still number one, believe it or not.
I made a sale yesterday from someone that held on to my letter
That we
for
sent
6 months.
during AEP, but the one you did before AEP to the turning
Yes.
65. Yep. How many of those did you send out, Missy? 200, I think?
500.
You sent out 500. She said, and now this is part of what I'm going to go over today, but she sent out 500 letters in an envelope, inviting them to a Medicare 101 that she did. She had very little turnout at that event. Did anybody come? I forget. A couple of people. Couple of people, but how many sales have you gotten now from that one mailer you did? It's probably the third one.
No, more. No,
More.
Like 5.
5. One mailer. Now, what has Missy done wrong? And I'm not really knocking Missy because Missy is also one of our top producers in the agency. She hasn't done another mailer since.
Right.
That's what she did wrong. She did that 6 months ago.
The birthday letter was a good one.
So this is the problem. We do something, it works in the short run. Why aren't we doing it again? Constant issue with agents. Okay, we stop doing what's working. Does that make sense? But we all do it. I do it. We all do it. So you have to invest.
So direct mail, is that your own list?
Everything, but no, right now we're talking about prospecting. We're talking about turning 65. And that's the thing, guys. If you're going to do direct mail to turning 65, you guys get paid $580 for one sale, guys. Come on. So if you spend $1,000, all you need is 2 sales. And that's 2 sales in the short run. Think about this. We are in the best business in the world. Why? No, I wasn't thinking about that. Why do I think this is the best business in the world? Residual income. So you got your money back year one, but that policy is going to pay you next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. But 80% of you in this room don't put any money into investing in your business. 80% of you do not spend money. Claire.
In the first 10 days, I've got 70 cards.
Yes, Claire did a turning 65. She has 70 people to call for the business reply cards because Claire spent money on aging in. Guys, I've been pitching this to you guys for a few years now, okay? And very few of you buy into it. And the ones that do, you do it, and then a year or 2 goes by before you do it again. And I can only bring it up so much. I mean, I send the emails, I bring it up on a training. You got to do it. It's working for people. Okay. So one of the things I just want to touch on is, because I know, and half of you in the room, I think, are good on all this, but who can we enroll right now, right? So it's past open enrollment. We're getting in front of people, but who can sign up? And what election codes can we use? So aging in, obviously, turning 65 is all year round. And you're going to get in front of those people either by doing business reply cards, buying leads, internet leads, guys, because I don't want you to waste your money. I think they suck. Unless you guys find a really good program out there. The problem that I'm hearing, because again, how do I know this? Because I'm educating myself, right? I'm on training calls with people that own agencies around the entire country. Part of the issue right now, we got call centers calling from other countries. Pakistan seems to be the #1 right now. I don't know why that is, but it is. They're not compliantly calling people. They're basically pitching dual benefits to non-dual eligible people. And then they're selling these leads or they're doing advertising on the internet. I have been finding that unless it's a lead you generate yourself via social media or internet-based marketing, I don't think I would spend money on internet-based leads because they're getting them falsely, and they're reselling them to multiple agents. So by the time you're getting to them, they're already annoyed because their phone is rang 100 times. Okay, so I don't think that that's the way. Now, again, I don't want to say all systems out there, but the majority of them out there are not working. But aging ins, you can write all year. What's another good way to get in front of aging in people? Without doing business reply cards, without doing seminars. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Missy. That's why they're two of the top agents in the office, because these two women effectively work with physician offices. Very effectively. You get your doctor's offices to call their turning 65s. Hey, we noticed that you're turning 65 this year. Although we take many of the Medicare plans, we don't take all of the Medicare plans, but we work with this great lady, Sandra Ramos. She knows the ins and outs of Medicare. She knows all the plans we take. We want you to call Sandra. She will give you a free, no obligation Medicare plan review, and she'll pick the right plan for you. And most importantly, we want to keep you as a patient. Sandra knows all the plans we take, and she'll put you on the right plan. They're not pushing a carrier, right? All they're doing is selling Sandra and referring to Sandra. Okay? I'm not saying every doctor's office is going to be willing to do this, but if you guys really develop a good rapport and relationship, right? You've all heard me say this over and over again. This business is about relationships. Doctors' offices will do that for you. They don't want to lose the patient turning 65. Because somebody on WellCare comes out and sells them on a $2,500 debit card, but they don't take WellCare, right? But if Sandra gets in front of that person first, before the WellCare agent does, then Sandra is going to put them on a plan that helps them, but also that the doctor takes. SEPs for losing employer coverage. You can write that business all year round. So whether somebody has A and B and they're still actively full-time employed working, or they didn't enroll in A and B yet, and they're still working, at any time during the year when that person comes off of the employer coverage, they can sign up for a plan. Now, obviously, if they didn't apply for A and B yet, they have to do that first, right? But that's any time during the year. 5-star plans. I get this question all the time. 5-star plans, you can enroll year round, but it's not just for the person that's currently on a Medicare Advantage plan. It's also for the person that's on original Medicare and maybe never signed up for a plan or has Medicare supplement in a Part D. If that person wants to sign up for an Advantage anytime during the year, they can go on a 5-star. South Florida, we have Health Sun and we have Care Plus in the 5-star. Those of you work in Treasure Coast, Cigna. Okay. Chronic SNPs. This is another one that causes a lot of confusion. And, but there's a lot of opportunity here. There's even more opportunity than you think there's opportunity. So first of all, the chronic SNPs are just for basically these conditions, because some of you guys get confused that are newer, and it's okay, but that's why we're going over it. I've had agents call and tell me, oh, somebody, you know, has had cancer. Isn't there a chronic plan for them? No, yes, cancer is a chronic condition, but it has to be specific to the diseases that the carrier lists, okay? So the most common ones are going to be the diabetes, cardiovascular disorders or disease, and COPD in some of the markets. COPD plans, I think, are really in Treasure Coast. Freedom might have one in Palm Beach. I'm not sure. They're not a big player for us. So when you do the enrollment, okay, in addition to the application, there's like a chronic condition eligibility. So this person, again, can sign up anytime during the year. As long as they have diabetes or they have the cardiovascular condition, you can sign them up. There will be a form that has a few verification questions. You are not a doctor. It is not your responsibility at the time of sale, other than going through those questions, to know with absolute 110% certainty that that person has that disease. But if they're taking high blood pressure medication and they're taking maybe other heart medications and they answer yes to the questions that their legs end up swelling up, I can't think of all the questions on that app, but you're going to say yes. You're going to put down a doctor's name. You're going to submit the application, but you're going to tell the client if for some reason your doctor does not verify that you have this chronic condition, you're going to get a letter from the insurance company letting you know that the plan is going to terminate. At that point, you need to call me because then I can put you on a different plan. This is kind of your loophole when you're working chronic condition plans. Yeah, that's like the worst seat in the house because of that.
I'm gonna move. I don't want to be rude.
It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, probably just on the other side, it'll be much better.
Thank you, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You need a winter coat to sit in that spot. Now, I'm not telling you guys to abuse the situation and go out and start writing all these chronic condition plans. What I'm telling you is if you find somebody, because you're out prospecting or working with a doctor's office and somebody wants to change plans or needs to change plans, this is your opportunity. Now, like 50% of Medicare eligible people are either going to have diabetes or a cardiovascular condition. It's just a fact. So half of the people you're talking to are going to qualify. And sometimes, guys, you're going to have people that say, oh, no, my doctor just says I'm borderline diabetic. It's controlled with diet. Put them on the chronic SNP. Put them on the chronic SNP.
You don't have to
Okay?
be on insulin.
No,
Okay.
no. The best one I ever heard, and I've told this one before, is when they say, oh, no, I don't have diabetes. I just take a little sugar pill. Just a little sugar pill. They're diabetic. I mean, and for those of you that really don't know, I mean, they have a list of medications, but they don't have to necessarily be on the medication because if their A1C has been elevated and it's on the chart and they're trying to control it with diet, they're still diabetic, guys. Okay, so don't walk away from a sale. And again, I'm going to go back to, because there's confusion. If the person's on straight Medicare, that chronics are not just for people moving from MA to MA. It can be for somebody that's on original Medicare. Now, chronic plans are not always the best plan for the person, meaning if somebody is new to Medicare or you have another valid SEP, in most cases, they're going to be better off on a core plan, not the chronic. Okay, in most cases. Now, on some chronic plans like WellCare here in this market and Ultimate up in the Treasure Coast, they have certain chronic condition medications that cost like $400 or $500 a month. That if you put them on the chronic plan are covered in the donut hole for a lower copay. So in some cases, rarely the chronic is actually better. Now, if you put somebody on the chronic just because, hey, it's July, they don't have any other, and there's no benefit to them being on that chronic, I'm going to use Humana as an example, because I'm going to say they probably have one of the weakest chronic condition plans in the industry. So then that person, you probably come AEP, you want to switch them to the core plan. So if you put them on the Humana chronic in July, which is now a combination diabetic cardiovascular, then you want to put them on your list for AEP to call them to switch them to the core plan. Other Medicare SEPs. So I had the conversation with several of you about this one, the SEP for disasters. You know, it used to be in the past, after we had a hurricane, right, we would get an email saying that we had an SEP for the disaster. It's usually for certain counties, okay? So within the last 2 weeks, Humana and Prominence, and if anybody else did, let me know, I just don't recall, sent out an email saying that you can use the SEP disaster for COVID, right? We're in a state that COVID was an issue. Ha, 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 it was an issue everywhere, right? The main thing though, guys, is that they have to have missed another valid election. So at this point, we just went through OEP. So that's the election. We're not worried about that a year ago they missed their IEP, okay? If they missed OEP and they didn't use the OEP election and somebody comes to you now in the next few months and wants to sign up for a plan and no other election code will work, okay? I would rather you use chronic first if they're diabetic or cardio. I'd rather you use 5-star first. I'd rather you use another valid election, but if they don't have another valid election, this is your last resort not to lose the sale. SEP disaster, okay? And on the application, it says your area has been declared a FEMA, whatever, disaster, whatever, all right? Now, the reason I'm just saying these two companies is United Healthcare hasn't come to us and said, hey, we'll take this. Aetna hasn't come to us and said, hey, we'll take this. Now, typically, when there is an SEP for the disaster for FEMA, it should be across the board. But Medicare allows the individual carriers to decide whether they're taking it or not. So from my standpoint, I'm not going to waste my time submitting it with Aetna and then Aetna possibly declining it. Unless you call Amanda and Amanda says go for it. Okay.
Based on the application, yes. Is it under other or it's actual?
So it depends, but a lot of the applications now have it under the SEP, so you don't have to click other. If the app doesn't have it as one of the ones listed, then yes, you're going to click other and do SEP. Same thing with 5-star, but the reality is the 5-star companies now made a spot for it. So it just, it's better to do it that way unless they don't have it listed, then do SEP other and write it in the box. Danny?
So reading the SCP, it said it starts in like 2020.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody say was on med sup and they didn't during AEP make the move, that's a missed election, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't do anything during AEP, they didn't do anything during OEP. I mean, again, I'd be careful with it and I would kind of warn the person, listen, this is we have a special election, but they're approving these on a case-by-case basis. I can't guarantee you the enrollment is going to go through. This is what's going to happen. And then just kind of explain to them. Okay. Guys, at the end of the day, when it comes to stuff like that, you don't want to abuse anything either, because the other big thing is you cannot market this election code. Okay. Just like during OEP, you weren't supposed to be out there saying, hey, you have until March 31st to change your Medicare Advantage plan. Not allowed to market it. Now, I'm not saying, hey, I'm not saying don't educate your doctors that you're working with, right? This way, when a doctor refers somebody to you, okay, they know that, hey, there's an opportunity. Now, you don't want the doctor saying to the client, hey, if you're not happy with your plan, we can use an SEP because of COVID. That's not the doctor's job. You just want the doctor to be educated so they know, hey, still send people my way. A few of you have called me, Danny, myself, Missy, Gary. Care Plus has terminated some doctors. I don't have a list of who, okay? It's funny, you call Care Plus and they kind of act stupid to the fact. But the doctors have gotten letters. Some of them got termed by their MSOs. So if you do get a call, it is happening. So if the person wants to stay with that provider and they're not LIS and they're not dual and you don't have another SEP, as long as they didn't change their plan during OEP, then you can use that election code. Okay, the disaster.
Why is Care Plus doing this? They're going to lose business.
Well, the one provider I spoke to did say, well, they've been telling us our MRA scores are low. That's their medical risk assessment. All the doctors' offices get rated. Care Plus is a 5-star plan. If they don't have enough offices getting a 5-star rating, they're going to lose their 5-star. I mean, that's just the reality. So if the doctors aren't performing, then they're going to term them. Okay. And of course, the insurance companies are sneaky, right? Because they waited to send the letters until March 27th. The clients got them last week. So
there's no SCP then?
no, because your doctor loses a plan, there's no SCP for that. No election exists for that.
So do you get reassigned to another?
They're going to assign, right. That's what they're going to automatically do. They're going to move the client to another doctor's office.
Is there
Claire.
Prominence and Humana?
Prominence and Humana that are saying that they'll take the disaster.
Devoted absolutely said no.
Right, see? Because they're stricter with the compliance. See, what happens sometimes with Medicare Advantage, guys, it's up to the interpretation of the law by the compliance and legal department of the carrier. Yeah.
So I saw an email from WellCare yesterday about, I don't know what counties, but something about wildfires.
Yeah, and that's happening around the country.
Oh, okay.
So Danny said she's seen an email from WellCare. I mean, we've seen about tornadoes in different states. We've seen about wildfires. So you guys do get the notification, but if it's not specific to the counties that you're writing business in, then it's not going to help you.
And United Healthcare is allowing, Ed Shepherd had told me before he left, they're allowing up until June 30th.
Okay.
You can move on to a United Healthcare plan. I don't remember what the SEP was, but you're allowed to make a change onto.
It's probably the disaster for FEMA, because what else would it be?
It was weather related.
Right, but that's still FEMA. See, here's the thing, guys. When you write the FEMA election, you're not writing COVID. It's a disaster. So you're just checking the box.
But they had an end date. So
Right, I did see that in the email. United Healthcare did have an end date of June 30th. I did see that. So meaning they're only accepting the enrollments until June 30th. For whatever reason, Humana did not put a deadline on it. Now, that doesn't mean to say we don't get another email next month letting us know they're not taking it anymore, right? So we always just have to be aware of what's going on. So your other enrollment periods, LIS and dual eligible. Rosita?
Yes, I wanted to know, is there a difference between the MSO taking a plan or them being under the MSO and or them being a provider for that plan?
As far as what? So the doctor, so whether they're under an MSO or they're direct with the carrier, they're still a contracted provider.
So
What changes is whether the insurance company is paying them directly, whether the MSO is paying them directly.
Okay. 'Cause
Okay.
I guess that's where I had that confusion over the weekend with that lady, where she said that she's no longer, or they're canceling her MSO contract, right? Is that
Mhm.
what- so-
Yeah. Okay,
And
but
then-
in some cases, that's also going to cancel the contract with the carrier. So if the MSO cancels the doctor, they're losing the contract with the carrier.
Okay, because when she said that, I was like, well, you're still a provider, right? She said, yeah, I'm still gonna be a provider.
Well, that's if another MSO or the carrier directly agrees to contract that doctor. Okay. Okay, so dual eligible, obviously they can apply anytime during the year. At the time that they get approved for LIS or dual eligibility, they can enroll in a plan. Everybody forgets about LIS, guys. This is a common, I don't want to say issue that we have, but not everybody's income is going to be low enough to qualify for Medicaid. What Yasmin is doing here in the office is applying for Medicaid. So the state pays the Part B premium. But you got to look at the chart. If the income is a little above that and the assets are above that, they may still qualify for LIS. That's through Social Security. You apply at socialsecurity.gov. You, as the agent, can do that application in less than 10 minutes for the client. Apply for assistance with prescription drug coverage. Remember, not everybody automatically has these benefits because maybe when they first retired or went on Medicare, maybe they had a part-time job. Maybe they had other income. Maybe they were married and the income was higher and now they're divorced, right? So many things can change in people's lives. Maybe the income was low enough, but their assets were a little too high. And now they've gone below that threshold. So just because someone didn't qualify last year, year before, doesn't mean they're not going to qualify before. It's something you always should be talking about when you're meeting with a client, doing a needs analysis, finding what their income and assets are to see if they qualify for additional benefits.
Well, tell me about this. Tell me your thoughts about this situation. I got a prospect who's on Irma.
Irma, okay.
Yeah, his premium is $544 a month.
Yep.
And then he said he's retiring, and then
Yep.
and he'll be
Much
paying
below.
for
Right.
Medicaid. So I'm
Okay.
like, okay. So
Okay.
tell me
So,
about it.
well, I find it very hard to believe that somebody paying Irma will then qualify for Medicaid, unless they really did something wrong in life. I hate to be that way, but that's a far stretch. Okay. However, there is an appeal form through Social Security. So and for those of you that are on the call, his question is once he retires, his income is below the point that he shouldn't be paying Irma anymore. So typically there's a 2-year look back when it comes to Irma. So if the client doesn't do anything, it will automatically adjust after 2 years. But a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, I'm not working anymore. I can't afford to pay this. Then they have to fill out appeal paperwork with Social Security. It's a few pages long, and they can let Social Security know on that paperwork, I'm retired now. Now my income is only $30,000 a year. I can't afford to pay this increase.
So
Okay.
you can do that before the 2 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before-
Yeah. They're going to ask them for proof of that income. So whether you're going to have to provide a letter that their employment terminated and maybe, just show that they just have Social Security income, no other income, but there is an appeals process. Okay. Move, SEP, move out of planned service area. Okay. Remember, HMOs for the most part are county specific. So even if someone moves from Boca to Deerfield, they can change their plan anytime during the year, right? PPOs are regional for the most part now, what we call local plans. But if they're on a plan that's available in the entire state and they move out of the county, they can't change plans because they didn't move out of that plan's service area. Okay, everybody clear on that? So SEP for the move, you can move them from a Medicare Advantage to a Medicare Advantage. Let's say the person now all of a sudden is very unhealthy, has a lot of medical issues, can afford to be on a Medicare supplement. Something 80% of you forget is that if they are on an Advantage plan and they move out of the plan service area, again, even if it's only Boca to Deerfield, that person qualifies for guaranteed issue to go on a Medicare supplement. Okay. That's a big deal.
First
As-
enrollment,
What's that?
the first time enrollment.
No. If you're on a Medicare Advantage, you could be 75 years old and I move out of my plan service area and I move anywhere in the world, I can get on a med sup on a guaranteed issue basis. Now, United American will pay you full commission. Most of the other carriers will pay you anywhere from 0 to 8% on a guaranteed issue.
Oh, that's your guy.
Okay.
That's your guy. The move.
Anybody clear? Everybody clear on that? And guys, sometimes it's just a matter of helping the client out. You might not make big bucks on it. But like I said, if it's within the state of Florida, United American is going to take them. Okay. Don't tell Chris Graham I'm promoting that. Because he'll tell you, no, put him with another carrier.
So moving across from Palm Beach County to Martin County.
Yep.
Like Jupiter across the
Yep.
county line would qualify for guaranteed issue.
Absolutely, because they moved out of the planned service area. Now, if they're on a PPO and that same PPO with the same plan number is in Martin County and Palm Beach County, the answer is no. But if they're on a PPO that's Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade, and now they move to the Treasure Coast, the answer is yes. Yes, Gary?
What about just straight Medicare?
Nope.
No.
No. The question was for those that are on the line, what if they already have straight Medicare and say a supplement and they move out of the plan service area? Can they get? No. Supplements are portable. They can follow you anywhere. Now, there are certain plans, like I'm going to use, because this one seems to come up. I don't know if it's Blue Cross in Michigan or Wisconsin, that for whatever reason, that plan is only for residents of that state. So if it's a situation where they are told by the med sup that they're being canceled because they moved out of the plan service area, then yes. But that happens only about 10% of the time. 90% of the time with the big carriers, it's portable and they can take that med sup anywhere. Now, sometimes they pay a much higher premium when they move out of an area, especially if they're coming from certain states to Florida. They're going to end up paying more here, but that does not qualify them for guaranteed issue. As long as the supplement lets them keep it, they don't get guaranteed issue.
Stacy,
Okay.
sort of clarify what Christian was saying, because people get a little bit confused about first time enrolling in a supplement. So if somebody goes ahead and enrolls in a supplement at 65, at
Mhm.
67, they take on an MA.
Mhm.
And now they're 71 and they're in Broward, they move to Palm Beach. They can still get that guarantee.
Correct, because it's about moving out of the plan service area.
Because that's where people get confused, because they figure that's the first time. that
No,
they're-
has nothing to do with first time, second time. When it has to do with first time on an Advantage plan is when we're talking about trial right. Meaning at 65 years old, my Part A and Part B were effective on the same date. I went on a Medicare supplement. Now it's 10 years later. I can't afford the supplement anymore, but I'm afraid to go on a Medicare Advantage. I have a 12-month trial right to try that Medicare Advantage plan. And if within those 12 months, I don't like it or I don't want it anymore, I can go back to the supplement I was on a guaranteed issue basis.
At
Now,
the new
if
age.
for
At the new age.
At the new age.
at the new age, yeah. Now, at that point, if that company is not offering Medicare supplements anymore, then the prospect can shop and go to another plan. So basically what I'm telling you is you can't enroll them to go on the supplement for the guaranteed issue. So if you're the agent that takes them off the Advantage plan, off the supplement initially, puts them on the Advantage plan for their trial right, and now they want to go back to the supplement, they got to call the carrier. You can't do that.
Unless the carrier no longer offers it.
With AARP? Yeah, they're the only ones that sometimes, but I've seen it where you don't get paid, so.
If the company has the supplement, he can come back to the supplement.
Has to go back to the same supplement with the same company.
What happens if the member has go in Medicare Advantage the first year, the 65?
So the same thing. Now say I turn 65 and I go on a Medicare Advantage, and now within that same 12 months, I want to sign up for the supplement, then you as the agent can sign them up on the supplement, guaranteed issue. That's their trial right.
12 months.
12 months. So whether they take the trial at 65 or it's years later, but the key is they got to take the A and B at 65. So if you have somebody that works to 75 and now just going on B for the first time, they have forfeited their trial right. They're not going to get it. Okay. Okay. So SEP move up. Gary, one more question.
Do you think United American has language translators?
I have no idea. The question Gary was asking about UA having language translators. I don't know. The good old boys out of Texas, I'm not so sure they do. Listen, we had issues with a new carrier in Florida, in Central Florida, that didn't have bilingual customer service agents. So, I mean, go figure. Yeah.
Stacy, is that vice versa? Like, so if they have an MA and then they don't like the MA, they can go to the supplement at any point, guaranteed issue?
No, only within the 12 months.
Yeah.
Only with, so at 65, if they go on the Medicare Advantage before they turn 66, they can get on the Med Sup on a guaranteed issue basis. Okay, all right.
Can you market that?
Yeah, so it's definitely something you can discuss when you're talking to clients, like, that's fine. Okay, SEP institutional. This is another one everybody forgets about. If a client is going into a nursing home or long-term care facility or leaving a nursing home or long-term care facility. So when they go in, they can change. When they come out, they can change again. While they're still in, they can change as many times as they need to. Now, as an agent, you don't want to be changing someone's plan all the time. Doesn't benefit you in any way, shape, or form. But so on the way in, they can change. While they're in, they can change. And on their way out, they can change.
Only Med Advantage though.
Yeah, because I mean, not that they can't change to a supplement, but chances are they're not going to qualify
Right.
medically for a supplement.
Is that
Danny?
Are those like assisted living places too?
So here's the thing with assisted living. Technically, no,
Or do they check?
they don't verify it, but you need to put on the application that they're in a long-term care facility.
Okay.
But they're not going to verify it. But if it's like independent living and there's no like skilled rehab or anything on the premise, I wouldn't chance it. So a lot of these facilities have both, but you might be on the independent side, but they also have an assisted side or rehab side. I would say in that case, you're fine. But if someone's just in an independent living and there's no assisted living on premise and there's no rehab I probably wouldn't do it. Does that make sense?
So here's a coordination of benefits question in my head.
Okay, Ben,
Okay,
I'm just going to repeat a coordination of benefits question.
so someone's in the hospital, they're discharged to skilled care under Humana. While they're in skilled care, they can be changed to United Healthcare or something.
Mm-hmm.
So if they went in on Humana, United Healthcare is going to pick up
Going forward
going forward.
Oh.
Okay.
per the effective date. Yep. I get a lot of questions about this as well, guys.
I don't understand.
You guys have a prospect that wants to change and they're afraid to change because they just had a surgery and now they're afraid the bills haven't been paid yet. You never have to worry about that. When it comes to Medicare Advantage, especially, it's data service, okay? And even with Medicare and a supplement, it's data service. So if they make a change and that doesn't get billed till 3 months later, it's based upon the date they had the care. It doesn't matter that their insurance changed now, okay? It's date of service. Okay, moving on. SEP is for ACA. Much different animal. Now, a good 50% of you now, I want to say, are also doing ACA, so I thought it was important to bring it up. In April, they started that if the client is at 150% or less than the federal poverty limit, they qualify for an SEP for ACA, Obamacare, okay? However, anytime you're dealing with an SEP, I just want to bring up a couple of things because some of you are new to ACA. One, the application has to be done by the 15th of the month to be effective the 1st of the next month. So if you do it on the 20th of February, it's not going to be effective March 1st. It's going to be effective April 1st. Okay, they're going back to the way it used to be before all the COVID craziness last year.
I never fully understood that 150 below.
There's a chart.
What do you mean?
There's a chart. There's an income chart that says family of two, if the income is below this point, I think it's 27,000, they qualify for an SEP. You got to look at the chart. Tara has the chart. Okay, just look at the chart. Listen, let's not overanalyze. Look at the chart. Okay, now, Bright Health, Oscar, and Melina have all said they're not paying for SEPs. They're going to start paying you the renewal next year, but they're not paying you this year. So I tell you that in advance. Listen, when ACA came out, we had a lot of companies that weren't paying. But when I left Humana, guys, and I was starting from scratch all over again, anything I could write, anybody I could help, I did. Even if it meant me not getting paid a commission, because I was forming a bond, I was forming a relationship. This business is all about relationships. And then I knew come AEP, I can change the plan and get paid the following year or renew them. See, last year during COVID, everybody got spoiled with the SEPs, and I'm willing to bet that's why they stopped, because agents were abusing it. They were moving plans just to get paid, not because the person really needed to change. So that's probably why they're doing this. I kind of don't blame them.
So if
But
someone-
don't get an attitude like, well, screw Oscar, I'm not going to write them if they're not going to pay me. You're trying to build up a clientele. And unfortunately, if you notice, I mean, well, not so much Molina, but Bright and Oscar are two of the least expensive plans. So yeah, you can push them to go to United or Aetna or Ambetter. They're going to pay more money. I mean, if their doctors are on it and that's what they want to do, fine. But don't do the wrong thing by the client either, just because you're trying to make a buck. Okay. And I know it's hard when you're trying to make a living writing a sale that you don't get paid commissions on, but it's about doing the right thing by people. And you're trying to build a referral base. And that's how you get referrals, by helping people, right? Question?
Well, I just wanted to bring this up. I have a friend that works at Apple Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Give her the Blue Cross and she gives me. But she taught me, right or wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that I just put in that they lost coverage.
Yeah, but that's still not going to affect you getting paid or not getting paid. They're not paying on SCPs for April 1st on this year.
That's SEP, lost coverage?
Yes.
is an SEP?
Yes, losing coverage is an
But you can get
SCP.
them covered on the 1st of the month. The 15th of the month does not apply on that situation.
Yeah, it depends. The rule is still that, but it really just does depend.
Because I mean, I've written a ton of.
Yeah, but you did it all
addicts.
during
Not a
COVID,
ton,
honey.
But
But
no,
you-
we're still doing it.
But you did it through recently. This SCP thing now
This is
just
new?
changed now April.
Okay.
This is, okay, this used to be the way it was before it was a free-for-all. So before COVID and we had the free-for-all with the enrollments, it was always SCP deadline is the 15th to be effective by the 1st. They're starting to reinforce some of the old rules. So just be careful. If you can get it sooner, great, you can get it sooner. But don't tell them one thing in case it's not going to go through.
So tell them the 15th and then if you
Yeah.
can get it on the 1st, it's a
Yep.
bonus. Gotcha.
Okay. The other thing a lot of you guys forget about this time of year are short-term medical plans. If you can't get somebody on a plan, don't walk away because they don't qualify for an SEP for ACA. Or those of you that are not certified to do ACA because you don't want to be bothered, that's fine. You know, a lot of you guys are big Medicare producers and you don't have time to do ACA. But short-term medical plans are wonderful. You guys can make great money. I am shocked that more of you don't do it. Is Johnny on the call? Noah's on the call. Noah is learning from his brother. I mean, they write a lot of short-term medical because there are some people that ACA is never good for also. Never mind when you meet them during the year. If they don't qualify for an income tax credit, they can get a short-term medical plan for a fraction of the cost, usually 50% less, guys. And as long as they don't have pre-existing conditions and they can qualify medically, and on average, I'm just throwing out an amount, I think it's higher, but you're getting 20% commission. So if that policy costs the person $500 a month, Claire, how much you getting paid? $100 a month, $1,200 for the year. But you guys, I don't want to say all of you, but a lot of you don't take the time to learn it. You don't want to pay the $60 appointment fee. I'm going to make $1,000 when I sell a policy, but I don't want to pay $60 to appoint with the
Are
carrier.
you talking
Does it
about
make sense?
Golden rule and?
Whether it's United Health One or National
National
General.
National General if you sell a renewable policy,
Mm-hmm.
the commission drops dramatically. So you renew everybody every year
Yeah.
on a new policy, so you get paid again.
Yeah.
Then you get paid on their association fee that they required them to have.
Mm-hmm.
And the commissions are higher on the ancillary, like the accident, the plan enhancers, as they call
Yeah.
them.
And they both have the ancillary products, whether you go National General or you go United Health One. They also have accident policies, hospital indemnity policies, critical illness policies. Again, that goes back to the bundling that I have been pitching for the past year. Okay. And we are going to start a separate training series on bundling just for those agents that are interested. We're going to do some face-to-face stuff. It's not going to be on a Tuesday. Because so many of you are missing out. And those of you that are newer and need to make money, that's how you're going to do it, by bundling. How many people in here were on the call last week with Kendricks? Yeah. One?
The bundle queen.
With the bundle queen. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I watched
5 or 6 of you were on with the bundle queen. Again, it's not always that I email you out and say, hey guys, try to jump on this call. But when I do, it's usually for a good reason. Okay. She will be one of the speakers at Medicare Con. And I'm going to talk more about Medicare Con at the end too. But
I have one comment about short term.
yeah, short term.
United Health One introduced a family deductible.
Okay.
So on National General,
Uh-huh.
the deductible is per
Okay.
person. I
Okay.
think it's a maximum of 3 per household.
Uh-huh.
But on UH1,
They have a family deductible
a
now.
family of 4 can have one.
Okay, so good information for those of you that have looked at short term before, but maybe you're not overly familiar with it now. I'm just repeating it for those on the call. Claire said United Health One now has a family deductible. So see, typically with short-term medical plans, it's per person deductibles. So sometimes, you know, people didn't think it was that advantageous. All right. All right, we're going to move on. Okay. These are just some of the lead vendors that we use. I have given you guys all this information before, okay, but I'm giving it to you again. Now, John McNamee, they're not Info USA now. They changed the name to Data Excel or something. He's our contact. They do more, say you want to create a direct mail piece, his guys will help you create something. You tell them what demographic you want to target, and they'll mail out to that demographic. Okay?
This is where I'm stuck.
Why are you stuck? I just gave you the guy's information. Call him and find out what to do. Listen, guys, and I love you to death, Danny, but I can't handhold you guys on every little detail of the business.
I need.
You know, and you might end up hearing it. Where-
Yeah, but I don't know about helping with this.
Yeah.
I need help.
Okay. So that's one option. Another option, those of you guys the past year and a half that have been doing the business reply cards. We use Chris Etheridge from the Lead Connection. He's fantastic. He's quick, right, Claire? I mean, Chris gets right back to you. He really does. He gets right back to you. He's the one we do the generic reply cards. And I'm going to show you guys some pictures of the cards. I didn't update my slides, so it's last year's versions. It doesn't freaking matter. The numbers changed a little bit, but same concept, okay? He's doing that 51 cents. I think he charges us 3 cents more or 10 cents more if we're doing the Spanish. I forget. Crystal Jackson. I've used Kramer in the past. One of the nice things I'm going to say about Kramer on the direct mail side is they actually have a portal that you can log into, and then you can monitor your leads that are coming in. Mariella, I think one of the campaigns we did with you last year in Spanish, we did through Kramer. So Kramer emails you when the lead is coming in, and then you log in and you can see what came in. Okay. It was, yeah. It was good. So how come you didn't keep doing it? I'm joking with you, but do you guys see my point? Do you guys see my point? I know. Okay. Guys, there's dozens out there. I'm not saying you got to use these guys. Stacey Murphy does not get a kickback. It's just who I've used before, and they work and they're nice and whatever. I don't care. Okay. And the thing with Kramer is they'll even have ideas, like if you want to try to think outside the box, they'll have campaigns that mail to the same people more than once and mail different things. Like you could get creative. Chris is very basic. We do the business reply card, you tell them how many, you give them the demographic, it goes out. They don't have a system for you to log into. We get emailed the cards, and sometimes they physically come in the mail too, but most of the time we're just getting emailed the cards from Chris. All right?
And I was a recipient since I'm on somebody's mailing list.
See?
And it comes as a regular, in a white envelope.
Yeah.
Yeah. It comes in a regular white envelope.
Just comes in a white envelope. Very generic. Well, we're going to look at some of them. So basically, this is one of the ones that you could do for the turning 65. When you turn 65, you'll be in your Medicare open enrollment period, which means you can choose any Medicare carrier regardless of health conditions. You must sign up with Medicare in order to be sure to avoid a late enrollment penalty. You only have one open enrollment period. Make it count. Okay, so most of the ones that have been coming in, guys, everybody's checking dental and vision benefits. Let's focus there. Okay, because if you talk to somebody and they're like, oh, I already spoke to somebody about my Medicare, I don't need help. Oh, but you also mentioned that about dental and vision. Don't walk away from the standalone plans. Okay, we got some good contracts, and I don't care what you sell at the end of the day. Well, I want you to make money. So if you're going to sell them, you want to stick with the National Care Dental, you want to stick with the Emeritus, you want to stick with either like the Aetna or the Cigna. Cigna goes up to the $5,000 benefits. So does the National Care Dental. How are you going to pick up the plan? Pick the plan. You're going to look at their dentist, guys. Don't make it complicated. Don't go in and compare Cigna with Aetna, with Emeritus. You're never going to get the sale. Look up the dentist, make a recommendation. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. 70% of seniors are concerned about dental. And let's face it, the benefits in the Medicare Advantage plan suck. So don't feel like you're over-insuring them. If they want the additional dental plan, sell it to them. Don't say, oh, well, WellCare has this dental benefit built in. Okay, yeah, it's there. Okay, but if they want the additional benefits, sell it to them.
Question. Are there any products that you don't need a license to sell? Do you have to have a license to sell dental?
Yes, I mean,
These,
yeah.
every single one, there's no.
Far as I
ancillary
know,
product?
far as I know, far as I know, I don't know of ancillary because they're all some kind of insurance product. And if they're just a discount plan and not considered an insurance product, it's probably not something we want to sell. So.
But it's a foot in the door, I mean, sometimes on those discounts.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Yes, there's discount plans up there, and maybe it's a foot in the door because you're going to advertise a $12 dental plan. But those of you that have been with me for a long time, if you remember back in like 2014, 15, I was like, don't sell standalone dentals. And why did I feel that way? Because I worked for Humana. And they used to have us sell this crappy $12 a month dental HMO that only caused a headache that most of the dentists didn't take. And the commission was terrible. We didn't make any money on it. So I'm promoting that you guys sell products that have decent coverage, but also you're going to make a good commission. Because if you have to get that customer service call, shouldn't you be getting paid to handle that customer service? I don't want you selling a dental plan that you get paid $1 a month for. Don't sell it, okay? But also don't drive yourself crazy. Just pick one or two and stick with it. And if you go to Emeritus's website, you can look up the dentist. If you go to National Care Dental, if you go to Cigna's, if you go to Aetna's, you can look up the dentist. All of those are decent commissions, guys. All right?
If we're
And
licensed
don't.
Cigna and Aetna, do we need to do something extra?
Okay, when it comes to the dental plans with Cigna and Aetna, you have to have the Cigna or the Aetna supplemental contract, the senior supplemental contract. So if you're contracted with them to sell Med Sup, you have the dental and vision. If you're not contracted with them to sell Med Sup, you don't have the vision, the dental and vision. So let me rephrase. If you are contracted with Aetna or Cigna on the Medicare Advantage side or the individual under 65 only, you do not have access to those products. Okay, it is a separate contract. MedSup is along with all the ancillary, which includes the cancer, the final expense, the hospital indemnity.
Cigna does still have the individual dental, but it's shit.
Yeah.
It's the only one that has the Cigna network. It's with your ACA.
Okay.
Contract,
So,
but the highest benefit amount is like 1,000, maybe 1,500.
so don't
maybe,
bother.
And it's like $50 a month.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
someone my age.
So guys, what Tara was saying, those of you that are on the call, is that Cigna, your Cigna ACA individual contract does come with the old Cigna Dental, but it's expensive and the benefits aren't good. So really, if you want to sell the new Cigna Dental benefits, you need the Cigna supplemental contract. Okay. And guys, they all have a portal that you log into with your information. You run the quote. You could do it over the phone. You could do it in person. You can send an email for a signature. Okay. Danny.
So I can sell Humana Medicare.
Yes.
I've also sold Humana Medicare Sup.
But I didn't say Humana, honey. It's different. Your Humana contract includes MedSup, Med Advantage.
What about United Healthcare?
United Healthcare includes MedSup, Med Advantage. Aetna and Cigna, it's a separate contract.
And now, so I have the Cigna Sup. Is that something you do every year? You have to research?
No, on Medicare supplements, you don't have to recertify. There's no even initial certification for a Medicare supplement, similar to United American. Now, not to say, because I don't know, say you had the contract for a couple of years and you never wrote any business, they'll probably terminate your contract. So you want to make sure that you're active. Okay.
And I never did a supplement with Aetna, but I did have a contract with them. Remember when I called them? So you should just check and see with them. Because remember how I called about the supplement for the life insurance and stuff? And the
Yeah, but that was because, but you did that because you came from elsewhere and you did that with another upline. So it's possible that you do it without knowing you did it. Because you did it with another upline. You did do it though. It's not like you didn't do it. You did it.
So we call on our own and do that, or is that something to add Aetna and Cigna?
No. If you want the supplemental contracts, guys, ABI has it. You email Erin and tell her that you want the contract. But again, I don't want to waste anybody's time. We don't want to waste Erin's time. You don't necessarily need both. If for now you just want to start with one, because what'll happen is you get boggled down doing contracting, you get boggled down doing training, and then you don't get anything done. Most of you guys in the room right now, and I'm not looking at the list that's on the call, you guys are all pretty experienced with the exception of a couple of you, okay? And a lot of you have a book of business. Maybe just focus in on one or two products. Make it easy. You don't need to have 5 dental plans in your briefcase to offer. You just need 1 or 2. Don't make it complicated, because then you'll never get any sales. This is one of the other cards you guys have probably seen, the Medicare savings. Now, of course, it says up to $170, okay? We did update the card, so there are boxes on it for dental and vision. I also added a line for an email address on the business reply cards, because sometimes you can't get them on the phone. So send them a text message, send them an email. Those that are doing business reply cards, do you guys know on average how many times you need to follow up with the prospect before you get an appointment? Claire? Yeah, it's more than that. The averages, they say 9 to 12 times, guys, before you get an appointment.
Do you recommend leaving messages?
Initially, no. When you first go through the batch, no. Just bang out the calls and try to get them on the phone. Maybe even the first couple of times. Then yes, when you can't get them on the phone. Okay, and then if they don't call back, send a text message, because they don't know, that you're just a solicitor or whatever. And then I would just say in the text, hey, I'm just getting back to you about the information on Medicare that you requested, even when you make the phone call. Hi, Mr. Smith. This is Stacy Murphy. I'm just getting back to you on the information that you requested. Then you can elaborate. But this way, if I call your house and I'm like, hi, is Mr. Beckles there? Oh, who's calling? This is Stacy Murphy. I'm just getting back to him. He requested some information from my office. Got it? Now it sounds like you're returning a phone call. Okay, and I think for most of you to be successful with these business reply cards, how you're going to do that is by just scheduling an appointment. Schedule the appointment. You guys will have more success with the reply cards if you're scheduling the appointment. How do I know this? Because we've been doing it for a few years, and my most successful agents with the business reply cards are the ones that are getting in the door. Those of you that, and don't, I don't want to insult anybody, okay? But you know, those of you that want to sit in your ass at the desk, and I don't want to drive anywhere because you know, there's people making a lot of money doing all their business over the phone. And I'm just going to be like a telemarketer with my headset and read my script in my office. You are going to fail. A very small percentage of you are going to be able to pull it off, guys. 2 years ago, we had my brother-in-law come to us and say, listen, we got all this money from Anthem and we're doing a huge campaign in Texas and in Virginia. And we're going to have all these Blue Cross leads and we need your top agents on this and blah, 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 right? So I was like, oh, again, it was explained to me wrong. I was told Blue Cross Blue Shield leads. I thought these people were calling in, requesting Blue Cross Blue Shield, wanted to talk to an agent or filled out a form regarding Blue. Come to find out, once AEP was here and the reply cards started to come in, Othello participated in this, Claire participated. I had, I think, Eric Largent, Mike LeGrand, Dan Carroll, experienced agents, right? Guess what? All it was these business reply cards. Do you know how much business we sold? Almost nothing. Why? Because now we're calling another state, right? We're not local. We don't know the plans in and out like we do here. And we didn't have the ability to say, hey, I'm your local agent. I'm right down the street. I'm going to be in your area on Tuesday. Can I stop by? When we do the business reply cards here from the Treasure Coast down through Miami, we have success because we're just scheduling an appointment. I need to get together with you to go over the information that you requested. This is an important time for you. You're going on Medicare. Or if they're already on Medicare, I want to come by and tell you about the plan that's going to give you money back in your check. I need to meet with you to make sure you qualify. It's just different, guys. And then they're like, yeah, come on by. RROR on face-to-face appointments is tremendously higher than those agents trying to do this over the phone. Okay? Missy?
I had an appointment last night. I got to get a hold of this book. I can't believe this agent sends out this book. It was all educational, so professional.
Yep.
You've seen it?
Not that particular one, but we're actually in the process of doing one ourselves that we're co-branding. Yeah, I'm getting one from Justin Brock that he wrote. Very, very similar. But again, it's investing in your business.
So but
you guys have to buy the copies. They're co-branded books, so you don't have to write them, but you're down as a co-author, and it's a Medicare educational. And whether you're doing online leads or we can send out direct mails that say you want this book, this information, it acts as a lead piece, right? To get in the door, but you got to be willing to spend money.
The woman that I met with called the girl. The girl said, I can't meet face to face. She was too busy. So then I was the next in line because she liked my letter. That's how I got it. I was willing to give her an appointment.
Because she was too busy
So
to meet
true.
face to face.
Yeah.
Too busy.
Okay, guys, I'm not telling you don't sell over the phone. I'm not telling you not to get good at it. You guys all should know how to do a Zoom call. You should all screen share. You should all know how to bring up the presentation and go through it, because there are people that are gonna want that. But my feeling on this is, and I have friends, I know people that make a lot of money selling over the phone. Ask those people how many referrals they get a year. Okay? For the most part, those people just bang the telephones. Okay? They make 150 cold calls a day. I'm not telling you not to do that. If you think you're good at that and you want to do that, go for it. I could tell you that's not ABI's forte. We're the wrong agency to align yourself with if that's what you want to do. Now, if you just say, well, I'm just going to do it on my own and I just still want to be, I mean, that's fine, but don't come to us for support on that, because that's not where we thrive. We thrive face-to-face in the home. Now, once you build your book up enough and you are too busy, like maybe this lady is, to go out and see somebody, but I don't think she'd be doing a lead piece if she was truthfully too busy, because agents that are too busy don't market. When I got to the point when I was just, well, even after I left Humana, I mean, I never really marketed. I only started marketing when we started to build a team and I was trying to generate leads for ABI. But Stacy Murphy doesn't do anything marketing wise because I just work my book of business. So once you get to that point, then you don't need to do any of these things. But most of you guys in this room are not at the point you want to be at. Now, for Ralph, it's probably 250 sales a year where he wants to be at, right? Okay. But maybe Gary is like, Stace, I'd be happy with 100 a year, right? Mark might say, listen, I got a big book of business. I did well for myself over the years. I'm fine with 50 a year. You guys are all in individual situations, and only you know what you need to come in. Okay, but everything we're talking about today would work for every single one of you. You just have to work it. Now, some of you aren't as good over the phone, and that's why you need to do the other things. All right, I got to move on because I'm like really going behind. Okay, this is something else. We sent this out like a year and a half ago, and it might have been a different one, but it came up recently, and I sent it to a couple of agents. And this is, I think it's a different one than we sent out a year and a half ago. But the thing is, you guys got to know these things exist, okay? And everything works. It's just how you use it. So it's a T65 locator. You can download it from the App Store. It costs you $14.99 a month or $150 a year. I ain't paying for it for you. You pay for it yourself, okay? It's not ABI branded. And I'm a New Yorker. I'm allowed to say ain't. What's that?
This is like Big Brother.
What do you mean?
They know how old you are.
Oh, it's scary. Yeah.
I'm going to something Thursday.
Okay. So guys, I kind of wanted you to see how cool it is, right? So this is me looking at my screen on my phone. So on the left-hand side, I can say how many months I want to go out for turning 65. So I did 9 months. Guys, look at our area. That's 9 months. And I think the radius on that one was 50 miles. And no, it wasn't even, because look, it stops above Boca. So it wasn't even 50 miles. That's all the people turning 65. Then they have a list version, the third one, where it gives you the name, how many miles they're away, and the address. Then if you click on the name, it can give you navigation, so the GPS will drive you to their house. If you hit on the call button, it has the phone number. Now, I got to tell you, I was surprised by this because almost every single one had a phone. So what that tells me, though, guys, is that it's not scrubbed. Because if I call John McAmey from Info USA and I buy a list of 25,000 names, and if I tell him I want phone numbers, I'm lucky if there's 1,000 phone numbers, because he can only sell me a list that the people that aren't on the do not call list. So if you're going to utilize this, you better run it through the do not call list. You have to go to the website. Just go to the website, do not call registry. Okay. But how cool. Turn 65 August 2022. And then if you have a good situation, you can even save the contact on the app. Now,
So you could potentially do your own mailer to those people.
how can we utilize the app?
Sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Okay. How do you utilize the app? Just like Missy did when Missy did her Medicare 101, and it was supposed to be for Roland's patients, and we weren't getting enough RSVPs because sometimes our doctors disappoint us, guys. They're supposed to get on the phone and they get busy and they don't. So we already had the room booked, and Missy's like, I'm not going to waste the opportunity, right? So we ordered a list at that time from John, and she sent out 500 mailers in a handwritten envelope with a real stamp, because people are going to open it. I don't even put a return address on it. Okay. Then they open it up, and now you just have your nice little introductory letter. Maybe you're inviting them to a Medicare 101, or you're offering a free, no obligation Medicare plan review. You're telling them a little bit about yourself. Don't make the letter too lengthy, very casual. I'm an independent agent. I represent all the plans in the area. So I know this is a very confusing time going on Medicare. Let me help you figure out what's the best plan for you. I've been doing this for XY years and whatever. I'm local. You're not dealing with somebody in another country or in another state, okay? But don't just send it once. Send to the same people. If you don't hear from them, send it to them 3 or 4 months in a row. Because now they're like, oh, wow, this person, Claire, keeps sending me this letter. Maybe they weren't ready in June, but now in September, they have a week off of work and they're ready to do it. A lot of the times with the turning 65s, guys, it's timing. It's just the right time. They just had a few extra minutes that day. So she sent this out in September. She got a call the other day because the person put it aside because it's important to them, but I'm just not ready to get to it right now. Okay? Now, some of you could do this. Rosita could do this. Sandra could probably do this, okay? Just stop by. I'm not a huge fan, and it's just not my comfort level, but there are agents that are very successful door knockers. Now, you cannot talk about Medicare Advantage if you're going to door knock. You can say, just like if you were cold calling, you could say, hey, I see you're turning Medicare. You're going on Medicare. I'm a Medicare agent, and talk about a supplement. Wanted to give you the rates for a Medicare supplement. Now, the second that person, whether it's on the phone or door to door, says, oh, well, I don't want a plan that I got to pay for. I was looking at one of those 0 premium plans. Then you can say, yes, I do that too, but Medicare requires me to get permission from you to talk about that. And they got to sign an SOA. But you can't bring it up. Okay?
And that's going to market with your doctor. Like if you want to go to your doctor and say, hey, listen, all the people turning 65 in your area. Let's
very good, Christian.
And so on and so forth. That's a good introduction to your doctor's office at a seminar.
Well, and they don't have to be 65 to buy dental insurance.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Well, you guys have a whole list of products to introduce yourselves, right? Send a birthday card. Why the hell not? Even if it's 6 months in advance, send a happy birthday card and inside write a little note. You're turning 65. It could be generic. Go to the dollar store, grab a bunch of 65 birthday cards, or don't even make it 65, just make it birthday. Do something to set yourself apart. Something different. Those of you that have a little bit of a budget, this was always my favorite thing to do with my send out cards was to send brownies, a 2-pack of brownies. It cost me like $10. Okay? So you send a gift. Take 50 people, send 50 people turning 65, a 2-pack of brownies. Let's see how many people actually call you. Be pretty cool. I think it would be pretty cool. But not enough agents want to invest in their business. You guys aren't doing anything to invest.
I like the book idea.
Yeah.
So who does the book? What company?
I'll roll it out to you guys. We're in the middle of setting it up for ABI in particular.
So it's different than Reminder Media, which is the magazine.
Yeah, no, this is a book. In this case, this was one
It
that
says
just,
Medicare, I get it, and
Yeah.
it's this girl is about this thick, and it has her name on it, and it looks like they
Yeah.
co-wrote it, and it's
Right.
information.
so they
that's
just put you
easy
down
to
as a
read.
co-author.
So you look like you wrote a book.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
so.
Booklet.
I'm
Booklet.
investing in that.
Written by Thomas Smith, Sean Levin.
All right, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Okay. Event marketing, health fairs, tabletops. Guys, because AEP is over doesn't mean you stop. Now, we will be emailing out all the new seminar, I don't want to say new seminars. Believe it or not, we already had to pay for the, what do they call it? The 2022-2023 health fair season. I've already submitted it. Agents, you're already planning your AEP now. You're already planning your next year's worth of marketing events now, not 5 months from now. Don't be the agent that comes in to talk to Stacy and Tara in August. A couple of you have done that. I won't mention any names, but that's not the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. Okay? So if you're going to do an event, you want to bring flyers. I don't care whether they're generic, whether they're carrier specific. Every company has a portal that you can log into and create flyers. You guys can print them here. We don't charge you guys for flyers, but we're not necessarily, although my girls do assist you guys often, I feel like this really should be your responsibility. Create your flyer, email it to Tara or Yasmin, and they'll print it for you. Okay? We always have giveaways here, but if you know you got a bunch of big events coming up, you should let us know in advance, because if we're running low and you come in the day before, I could almost get anything from any carrier. Some of them are stingy. It depends upon the carrier. You want to bring a tablecloth. You want to bring up pull-up banners. Don't just have the table. Usually when you go to the health fair, there's room behind you. We got pull-up banners for all the carriers. You're a broker. Bring 2 or 3 pull-up banners with you. Maybe something on one of those signs is going to get the person's attention. To-do pads. I think they're the best. Every time you do an event, you should be bringing a to-do pad. Every time you sign up a client, guys, you should be giving them a to-do pad and telling them to hang you on the side of the refrigerator. And if you ever need anything, call me. I mean, I physically get up in the kitchen and put it on their refrigerator.
I have clients from 10 years ago.
Yes.
that have it under-
Yes.
Everybody comments on those.
Yes. They are the best marketing thing is to-do pads. Pens, future contact forms. You always want to have a future contact form at an event. Although, Curtis, does Stacy like to use future contact forms? I always have them with me, but what do? Christian said, I just scheduled the appointment. Correct. I don't want to be following up with a bunch of people. If they're interested, I'm scheduling the appointment right then and there. Guys, even if it's April and I'm scheduling an appointment for October. Really? And then at the end of September, I'm going to call to confirm the appointment. But now I don't need a future contact form because I have an appointment on the schedule with that person. And all I'm doing is calling to confirm.
That's the last resort.
Correct. But now, if you're going to do a raffle, okay, if you're having trouble, you're doing these events and you feel like you're not getting anything, you're not getting names, maybe do a raffle. It'll drive people to the table. Then you have them fill out the future contact form. Probably 30% of them will check off that they're interested in some product. And now you have your list to mail to call, to follow up. You should be sending a thank you card to every person that fills out a form at your table. It was so nice to meet you. Thank you for stopping by. When you do an event, you should be stopping at every single booth.
I started putting the pen on that form.
The what?
I started putting the pen on the form.
Oh, okay.
So when they take the pen, they automatically fill out the form and leave it.
Okay, good. Talk to the other vendors. They're great referral sources. I always set up my booth, and before the event even starts, I'm walking around talking to everybody, getting business cards, because you don't know who's going to be a good referral source. And if they're at the event, they're also looking for business. Okay? People that do events aren't closed for business.
You can get business from
Bring candy. Bring candy, water, something again. If it's wrapped up, yeah. Guys, get there early. Nothing pisses me off more than an agent showing up at an event at the time the event starts. 30 to 60 minutes, whatever time you need to set up, make sure you're giving yourself enough time. You got to stand up and you got to talk to everybody. If you're sitting at the table, nobody's coming by to talk to you. Then you might as well not even be there. Don't bother. Okay, physician marketing. Guys, we did 1,400 sales during AEP, and we probably did more, but that's what I'm aware of. And the reason I say that is I don't have a line of sight with all the carriers, so I don't necessarily know entirely. I'm going to say between 20 and 30% came from physicians' offices. How do I know this? Because my agents that do provide me with a log sheet, I have a column that says source, and it'll say referral from the dentist office, referral from Dr. Rodriguez, referral from RevaMed, referral from Chen, referral from Dedicated, okay? I am shocked how many of you are not working with Chen, are not working with Dedicated, are not working with Cano. We bring you guys the opportunity, you go in once, twice, and then most of you just drop the ball. But the ones that don't benefit tremendously, okay? 50% of Maria Pucci's sales last month came from a Chen or a Dedicated medical center. But she ain't just working with one. She's working with 5 of them, okay? Curtis has been with us less than a year. He started working with the Cano. What month was that last year when we assigned those Cano medical centers? Sometime last summer. October? Yeah, I don't even remember. Okay? But he kept going and he kept going and he formed a good relationship with the MGC and he kept going. Okay? Every month he gets referrals from Cano. Every month. Brand new agent. I know it's not for all of you, but the thing is you guys have to be doing 70% of what I'm talking about. If you want to build your business. If you're content where you're at, don't do anything. I'm not saying you got to do it, you have to do it. But if you really want to build, you got to do some of these things. So if you have medical centers, start going in them weekly again. AEP and OEP are over. You have the time. Don't tell me you don't have the time because I know you all have the time. I see your sales. You have the time. Okay. Stop in. If you don't know what to do, bring a snack, bring flyers, schedule an in-service for the rest of the year. Well, what would I talk to them about this time of year? I'm going to educate them on the SEPs, on the 5-star, on the chronic. Obviously, depending upon the plans they take, I'm going to customize the in-service for that particular office. But at the end of the day, it's educating them on what they could be doing to grow. They should be turning 65. They should be calling their turning 65. Do they have a place to do aging in seminars, right? Some of the facilities have a big enough space to do, even if it's a little conference room and they could fit 5 or 10 people. Maybe they'll have you in twice a month to do Medicare 101s. Talk to the centers about doing these things. Most of them are open for business again. Not all of them, but most of them. Working with doctors and dentists works. Retail planning, an email's going out this week. And I know some of you don't like doing it, but that's okay. Not going to pick on Sandra. Sandra hates retail marketing, but Sandra kicks ass with business reply cards. So she knows what she's good at and she sticks with what she knows, and that's fine. She likes doing events, but she's just not a fan of being in Walgreens, and that's okay. Okay? But most of you guys haven't even tried it. A lot of you guys haven't even said, hey, Stace, I want to do Walmart this AEP. Now, something did happen this year, and I don't even think I called you all out on it, or maybe I did 1 or 2 of you. The Hypoluxo Walmart, I didn't know until AEP was over or close to being over that the table was in a crappy spot. You guys have to talk up. I would have had that booth moved because I would have went to corporate. But you guys didn't come to me until there was 2 weeks left in AEP. And then at that point, there was nothing I could do. Do you know that our Deerfield, and I'm not even talking about referrals, business we wrote during AEP, we wrote 36 sales out of Walmart in Deerfield. Yeah, it was at the front door. The agents only worked, I think, a 3-hour shift. They each did once a week. That was it. I didn't have anybody in there 10 hours a week, 20 hours. We split it all up among 6 agents. Maybe it was a 4-hour shift. Do you remember? Whatever it was. And I'm not even counting the follow-up because some of them said, oh, Stace, I got aging ins. I got people to follow up with over the next 6 months. Hypoluxo was terrible this year, but that was because of where the table was. And you guys didn't communicate that with me until it was late. I'm bringing this up now because it's time for me to bid on Walmart, guys. I got to know this week who's doing it. And if you tell me you're doing it, you're doing it. You can't tell me in October you're too busy and you don't want to do it. Because each location we have to cover 20 hours a week. I am bidding on Deerfield, absolutely. And I'm sure all my guys that were in it are going to tell me they want to be in it again. Okay, now I'm going to tell you this too. Those 5 agents have their first pick for those hours for next year for Deerfield. Okay. Forest Hill isn't ours. It's not up for grabs. We were offered, but this is going to be Spanish speaking, the Super Walmart on 10th Avenue, close to 95. There's several others I could bid on that are, let's say, open. We can go back to Hypoluxo. But you guys have to let me know. I pay $1,500 a store. I didn't get my money back from Hypoluxo this year, guys. And you might be thinking, oh, it was a waste of my time, but it cost me $1,500 and I didn't get that money back. So please communicate with me, okay? Aetna, CVS owns Aetna. You guys know this. If you think you have a CVS that could be hopping because of its location, let's bring it to Amanda and ask for that location. Now, I can't talk for every location, but I know Kelly O'Reilly got a couple of sales out of CVS. I don't know how many. My father, Ed, because he communicated it with me, the one he did up in Port St. Lucie, he got 6 sales out of it during AEP. It's part of it is how you work the event. You got to be talking to everybody that walks by. Maybe bring an Aetna bag and offer them stuff, have the conversation. But if you wait till AEP to get in the CVS, you got to get in there in advance. You got to get in there now. Walmart, we don't have that option because Walmart doesn't want agents in there year round, but they put up the big, nice kiosks. So at least it's a little bit of an attraction. Again, depending upon the location, because I think some of them just had a table. Okay. But this week I'm sending out an email. I need to know who's committed to Walmart. I'm going to try to get one in St. Lucie. There's only one on the list that's available. One. And it's not the one near our office. It's on Southwest Port St. Lucie Boulevard or St. Lucie Boulevard. Okay. All right. Walgreens with Florida Blue. I don't know if that opportunity will come up again, but I know Gabriel wrote like 6 sales out of West Palm Beach Century Village. He was doing once a week during AEP. Well, hoping Publix is back. I know Danny and Missy love Publix. We haven't had Publix for 2 years. Hopefully now we're post-COVID and that opportunity is going to come up again. But that we won't know till much closer to AEP. So your success requires persistency, guys. There's many funnels, but you have to work them regularly, regardless of what it is. You should be prospecting every single day. Centers of influence. I'm going to email out that list again, but everybody, guys, everybody in here should be working with at least one other insurance agent. If you do Medicare Advantage and you don't really write MedSup, and there's a lot of you guys that don't write MedSup, team up with a MedSup guy. They're out there, okay? They will refer you business if you refer them business, okay? I mean, I got some of you guys writing 100, 150 sales a year and you never write a MedSup, so that's okay, but refer it to somebody that's gonna refer to you. Find a property and casualty person to refer to, someone that does automobile and homeowners insurance. I mean, I say this every year to you guys, yet I can't believe how many of you guys have not teamed up with somebody to refer that does automobile and homeowners insurance. Your direct mailers, again, you don't just do it once a year. You should be doing direct mail every month. You just decide how much you can do. If you can only afford to send out 200 pieces a month, then do 200 pieces. Claire, only because you know me, I don't like to bullshit people, but you got 60 leads in, but how many did you send out to get 60? Was it 4,000?
Oh, no.
8,000? 8,000. She sent out 8,000 direct mail
For
pieces.
July through March.
Yeah, to get that much back.
I had somebody who.
Now that's on a generic postcard. The interesting thing is when you do the little letter like Missy did, you're going to get a higher percentage return on those. Okay? Because they don't get thrown out as easily. When you're doing the business reply card, you got to do numbers. Facebook ads, I'm not saying don't do it, okay, but it's inexpensive. You could do a little something just to create your brand, right? Your current book of business, everybody should be sending thank yous, reminders, holidays, appreciation notes. This time of year, just, hey, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you for being a client. I appreciate that you've been sticking with me for so many years. I appreciate that you have, trust in me to take care of all your insurance needs. Please refer me to your friends and family. Oh, by the way, I started selling dental policies and cancer policies. Give me a call so that I can tell you how to better protect your family from cancer. Financial things, just something. Events in the community, provider relations, retail, you got to do, not all of it, most of it. If you want to grow your book, you should be doing 70%. All right. Any questions for me? Lunch will be here at noon, so it should be here any minute. Anybody on the line have any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's more of a technical question.
All right, Danny's asking a question right now. It's a technical question.
It has to do with Part A.
Okay.
So I understand Part B, but Part A.
Mhm.
So if you're turning 65, you get it automatically with A and B, right?
So you're entitled to it automatically. They stopped, I don't know how many years ago, automatically enrolling people in Part A. So they do have to let them know if they want it. And they could do that by calling.
So if you're collecting Social Security, you get the A.
If you collect Social Security, it's automatic A and B. If you apply for Social Security late, say you apply for Social Security at 66, they're going to automatically enroll you in A. But if you want B, you have to do a separate application.
Okay. So you should have A though at 65 because technically it's free, right?
It's free, but sometimes, so here's when people won't. If they have employer coverage group and they have a health savings account, if they're enrolled in Medicare, they cannot contribute to the health savings account. So it actually would work against them by taking the A. So I don't just tell everybody to take it. It depends upon their circumstances.
And how do they get it if they want it?
What point are we at? When?
At 65.
Turning 65, then they should call Social Security and let them know that they want it.
Do they have to have Social Security? Or
No. So if they don't want to collect Social Security yet, that's when they would just call to tell them that they want it. If they want Social Security, they can go online at socialsecurity.gov, apply for their Social Security. That will automatically put them on A. But then if they want to also do B, they got to do the separate application. Any other questions? Comments? Anything?
For printing, like if you wanted to you suggest a printer or use Vistaprint, or if you wanted to do your own personal cards?
Like what? What kind of?
Like a touching base, like a reach out touching card.
So if you're only going to do like to your own clients, you could do Vistaprint. They're good. I just found out about one in Mississippi. I will email it to you guys. I can't remember, but it's a very cost-effective postcard. So that's another good way to go. The other thing with the postcards, guys, and Marielle has done something similar with her like WhatsApp, but why not on a postcard have the QR code right? And when they flash it, it's a video of you telling them a little something about yourself or a little educational thing about Medicare. Did you know? Why not? Okay, people are getting more tech savvy, and it's an easy way for you to share a video. So if you send out 5,000 postcards, maybe 20 people will look at your video. I don't know, but just different ways to do things. Okay.
I have one of those ring lights. I have the whole setup. So if anybody wants to get together in the office one day. It's so cute with the ring light.
And guys,
It's
for making videos. My daughter has one. The kids have them now, all the lights for when they're, you know, doing their stuff. But guys, you're not just insurance agents, you're marketers. And because you don't work for an insurance company directly, you gotta market yourself, right? In some of these ways, not all of these ways, but in some of these ways. And all of these things work, otherwise I wouldn't be telling you to do them. They all work.
What about networking?
Yeah, I didn't bring that up. It's on my other list, which I'm going to email everybody, but networking. But here's the thing with networking. Regular networking groups are for the long haul. If you want immediate satisfaction, you have to join either BNI or NPI, because they're an organized networking referral. They'll only allow one Medicare person in the group or one health insurance person in the group. You're required to bring referrals for the other people in the group. They track it. It's very organized, but it works. It absolutely works. Now, yes, you can join a women's club or a women in financial or the chamber. Those work too, but those work over long periods of time. After months and months of going and networking and you giving referrals and making relationships, those are not going to be as quick and immediate. If you want quick and immediate, NPI, BNI, but that also costs you money. I don't even know what they're up to now. I did it back in the day. I don't know if it's $500 a year, $1,000 a year. You got to pay to be in the group. And then every month, the meeting is normally at a restaurant or a country club, and you got to pay $30 to $40 to go to the luncheon. Attendance is mandatory, or they're kicking you out of the group. Like it's very regimented, but it works.
What do you know about shameless promotions and muppets?
Shameless promotions. I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's also, I just saw this on the net, and it's also a networking event, but it's less structured than BNI.
Mm-hmm. Again, everything will eventually work, but you got to put the time in. So that stuff is just going to take longer because it's not structured. Same thing, like I say, tell you with the medical center relationships, right? It can take months and months and months to build a rapport with the doctor's office, sometimes years. Okay, but that's where we go back to our time management. And if you really want to get in with an office, you're putting it on your calendar. You stop by every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Mondays is the worst day to go to a doctor's office, so scratch that. You do it later in the week, okay? So my one request for this month is please don't schedule anything on Tuesday mornings. 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. p.m., sorry, is my time, please. And if you can't be here in person, do the Zoom. Next week, we're Aetna supplemental on Zoom. You don't have to come in because I'm not even doing the training. Aetna's doing it. So I'm fine with you guys doing Zoom. But when I'm standing here in the front of the room, I think it's much better for you guys to actually, because you're present. It's not what I'm saying and what I'm doing. It's you're actually engaged and you're here versus checking your emails, answering phone calls, putting a load of laundry in the dryer, etc.